Okay, so from here you have your quadratic equation, and you're just going to take all the values of a, b, and c that you got from your standard form quadratic, and you're going to plug it into the quadratic formula. So I like to go ahead and everywhere there's a letter, I like to just put in a parentheses, and then after I put the parentheses, then I like to put the numbers into those parentheses for those variables. So we're going to have negative parentheses, because that's where a b is going to go, plus or minus the square root of parentheses squared, because that's where the other b is going to go, minus 4 parentheses, that's where my a is going to go, parentheses, that's where my c is going to go. And then all of this is going to be over 2 times parentheses, which is going to be my a value again. So let's plug it in. So your first one, that one is, sorry, not a. Your first one is b, right? First one is the b value. So the b value is negative 3. So we're going to put negative 3 in here. Same thing here, this is a b. So my next parentheses is going to be a b, which is negative 3. My next parentheses is an a. That's going to be 1. So I'm going to put a 1 in here. My next parentheses is a c. That's going to be negative 3. So I'm going to put in negative 3. Next parentheses, that's a. So my a value is 1. So I'm going to put 1 in here. So I got all my parentheses filled in. So now I'm just going to actually solve it in the, well, you could put it in the calculator, but I kind of like to do it step by step, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So first I'm going to simplify it by looking at this parentheses. If you have a negative inside the parentheses and a negative outside the parentheses, that's 2 negatives getting multiplied together. So 2 negatives getting multiplied together, that's positive. That makes it positive. So this will become positive 3 plus or minus the square root of, I'm going to put all this in the calculator. So all this stuff underneath the radical symbol, I'm going to put in the calculator. I'm going to get an actual number, and I'm going to put it there. Okay, so let me grab my calculator real quick. Okay, so I grab my calculator. I'm going to put this into my calculator. So it's going to be, and if you have any scientific calculator, you'll be able to do this on that too. So I'm going to put parentheses, negative 3. I'm going to square that. I'm going to put minus 4. I'll multiply that times 1. Everyone say hi to my son. Okay, so 4 times 1 times negative 3. I'm going to put that in. That gives me 21. So that's what I'm going to put under the square root symbol. And then I always go to the next step by reducing this part. So 2 times 1, or evaluating, I guess I should say. You're evaluating. So 2 times 1, that's 2. So you're going to put in 2 here. So let's review what I did. So here, I made this positive because there was 2 negatives. So I made that positive. Now if you only had, if this was positive in here, and I had a negative out here, then my number would be negative. But because I had 2 negatives, that made it positive. Okay, and then here, I went ahead and put all these numbers in the calculator, and I evaluated it to get 21. So that's where I got my 21. And then I moved down below the division bar, and I evaluated 2 times 1 to be 2. So this is as far as I've gotten in my reduction of this. Square root of 21, I want to see if that's actually a whole number. So I'm going to put that in my calculator. I'm going to put second square root 21. Sorry, you can't see it. I put square root of 21. It gives me a decimal. That means that this is not a perfect square, so we're not going to put a number there. We're just going to leave it in the radical. So the way this is going to look, your answer for one like this would look like this. You would have x equals 3 plus square root of 21 over 2, comma, x equals 3 minus square root of 21 over 2. So this you might see as one of your answers. Or you can take it and get a decimal. So you might see this as an answer choice. Or if you see all your answers are in decimal form, you're going to have to go a step further and find the decimals. So first, to get the decimal, I'm going to put this into the calculator and get a number for that. 3 plus square root of 21. So I put this in. 3 plus square root of 21. So I get an answer for that. I don't know. Hold on. There you go. 3 plus square root of 21. Hit enter. I get a number like this. Then I'm going to divide that number by 2, because that's what the number was under here. Divide it by 2. That's going to give me 3.79129. I'm going to just round it to the hundredths place. So I'm just going to put 3.79. And that was for the one where I was adding square root of 21. So now I'm going to do the one where I'm subtracting the square root of 21. So again, I'm going to put in 3 minus second square root of 21. That'll give me negative 1.58258. I'm going to divide that by 2, because that's what it's telling me to do here. Divide that by 2. Put this in, I got a number. Now I'm dividing by 2. Hit enter. Gives me negative 0.79 if I round it to the hundredths place. So that's my next answer. Alright, so you might have an answer that looks like this. If you don't, if you have all decimals, you're going to have to take it a step farther and get your decimals. So this would be another way to put that answer. Okay? And remember, again, so we're not writing this on. So remember again, all of this is so you can solve the roots of a quadratic. So remember, quadratic looks like a U shape. So one of my places that I'm crossing the x-axis on my quadratic is at 3.79. So on the graph, it's 1, 2, 3. 3.79 would be somewhere around here. So that's one of my roots. My other root is 0.79. Sorry, negative 0.79. So this is 1. Then my negative 0.79 is about here. So my graph is going to look something like this, because it's a positive quadratic. And we know that because my x squared was positive, so I know this is positive, so it is a smiley face quadratic. It is right side up. So again, these are your roots. This is what it would look like on a graph. Okay? Alright, so number 5 I had the kids do on their own in class. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do number 5 on your own. And then if you want to do that, pause the video. If you want to do that, pause the video, and then in a few seconds I'm going to put the answer up and you can see if you got that right. Okay? So right now, pause the video, work on it. Okay, so the answer for this, if you can see this, the answer for number 5 was 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2, and 1, oh sorry, not 1, it's going to be negative 1, sorry. Negative 1 plus square root of 5 divided by 2, and negative 1 minus square root of 5 divided by 2. Now if you went further and you did a decimal for those, I can give you that, I just haven't done that in the calculator yet. So in the calculator, hold on one second. Hold on, Benjamin.
Can I have these cookies?
Yes, you can. Here, hold on. Here you go. Okay, sorry, so -1 plus square root of 5. That gives me that number. I'm going to divide that by 2. That's 0.61. So one of your decimals would have been 0.61.
Mommy.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you. Okay, and then my other one would have been -1 minus square root of 5. Okay. We get a number for that. And then I divide that by 2. Okay, and I get -1.62. So this is a possible answer that you might see on a quiz or a test. This is also a possible answer that you might see on a quiz or a test. Let me put that in pen so you can see it better. Okay, and that's all the notes that we're going to take. If you feel like you want to go ahead and do number 7, you can. But that's all the notes that we're going to take on quadratic formula. We're going to go on from here to some more notes. You do have some homework that I attached with these notes, so please make sure you do that. All right, thanks.